Okay, listen, I've tried doing this intro like 100 times. And by 100 times, I mean more like 4 times. But I really, really hate trying to come up with a way to sound exciting and cool. It's just not how I'm built. So we're gonna hit the ground running with a little bit of a rolling start. Maybe I'll put this in here. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll find out. But anyway, listen, guys. What's up? Okay. Where was I? Oh, hi. Welcome. Hello. Greetings. Hey class, welcome to Intro to Business. My name is Ethan and I'm going to be your instructor for the next semester. In this video, since we're an online class and we're not going to be meeting in person, I want to talk about kind of the basics of everything we're going to go over throughout this course. I want to talk about, we're going to look at the syllabus. We're going to learn about all those fun little things that go on in that white piece of paper. I'm also going to talk about the things you're going to need for this class and some things that I think are going to be really helpful for you to be able to succeed as a college student, not only in this class, but in the rest of your classes as well. Like I said, my name is Ethan Gio. I'm an adjunct instructor here at Cumberland University, and I have been one for about a year. But before that, I was actually a Cumberland student. So I did my bachelor's degree here, as well as my master's, and I just couldn't get enough, so I decided to come back as an instructor. Now they're paying me, and I'm not paying them, which is, that's the ticket. It helps kind of balance out the scales, right? When I'm not doing this, I do a couple different things. What is this? Feedback. I put you on Do Not Disturb. Why are you popping up on here? Anyway, pretty busy when I'm not here, I work at Best Buy in Mount Juliet, so I sell things to people like computers and tablets and phones and all those other sorts of things. I may or may not have interacted with you at one point in time or another, so that's fun. What else do I do? I don't know. I'm kind of a silly goose. I just jump around, do a bunch of silly stuff, Obviously, this is significantly, it's probably not going to be a very good video. Let me start by saying that. But I will tell you, it's probably a little bit better than the Zoom webcam online classes you're used to having, right? And, I get goofy ideas and I want to try stuff out. All that is to say, actually, that in many ways, this course is going to be a learning experience for you, but it's also going to be a learning experience for me because I'm going to try to make videos like this each week to talk about certain topics in the book that I like. Now, the purpose of these videos is not to just drone on and on and on about each chapter of the book for 45 minutes. That's what the in-person class is for. This, I want to try to... My goal with this class is to experiment with the idea of narrowing down each chapter to one really important topic and put it into a 8 to 15 minute video. And the reason why I want to do that is a couple things. One being that this is a really broad class. We're going to cover a really wide range of topics, and a lot of them will be really, really important, but there's also going to be some stuff that's really not exciting and not super relevant to the life that we live now in 2025. So, in the syllabus, you'll see we'll be skipping over a couple chapters. And so, I think that's part of the reason why I'd like to try to distill the lesson into one really tight video. But also, and the more pragmatic reason is because, are you going to watch 45-minute long lectures when you have other things to do? Probably not. And so if I can get you to watch an 8-minute video on one thing I think is really, really important, then I feel like you'll have learned much more than if you sat and kind of idly listened to 45-minute lectures or, didn't do it at all. So that's going to be the goal here. And this is kind of an experiment. I mean, this video is going to be probably awful, like in the way that it looks and sounds and everything. This is an experiment for me. So, bear with me on that. But I hope that what you will take away from this is that these videos are that genuinely teach you something that you didn't know, and I hope that it's going to really enhance the chapter content that you're going to be reading. So yeah, we'll see if that works. You're going to need a couple things for this class to pass it. The first one is the textbook. Now the textbook is called Understanding Business 13th edition by Nichols and McHugh. You'll see the name and everything on your syllabus. You should already have purchased it from the bookstore, but if you haven't, please do. It is a required textbook. I tried last year to be the cool professor and not require a textbook, but I feel like a lot was left on the table as far as like how rich the learning experience could be. So sorry about that, but you will need the textbook. The second thing you're going to need is a computer or a tablet or something like that. Now, I'm not saying you can't, technically speaking, do this class from your phone, but your life is going to be a lot harder if you do, because we do have some writing assignments. We're going to have group projects that require things like PowerPoint and Microsoft Office programs. And so doing that from your phone is going to be really tough. Oh, and quizzes. Quizzes are also just so difficult to do on the phone. So please, if you don't have a computer, try and get one. I'll sell it to you. Or if that's a difficulty, then there are also computer labs in the basement floor of Labrie Hall on campus that you can use at any time. So I would really suggest you do that. iPads work too, as far as I can tell. Everything I've done so far, I've been able to do with an iPad and a computer. So try that as well. It'd be great if you had a keyboard to make your life easier, but whatever is within your ability to do it. Just please try not to use your phone. It just sucks, believe me. Yeah, and so make sure you get the textbook, make sure you have a computer. That's about really all you're going to need. Oh, and a great attitude. Anyway. Now let's go over the syllabus. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, oopsie. How do I do this? Oh gosh, I'm boomerang out right now. Okay, we're going to screen record. I think I'm screen recording. Great. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of walk through the syllabus together. So let me shake this and say that this is me being ready. Okay. All right, so as you can see right here, this is our syllabus. I'll probably try to have it on the screen somewhere. I don't know. That might be a little advanced for me, but we'll figure it out. If you need to find it, though, it's going to be on the Canvas website, which I'll also walk through in just a second. But as you can see here, Cumberland University, Intro to Business. There's my name. There's my contact information. So the first thing I'll say is I'm pretty good at responding to emails. So if you need anything from me, that's my email right there, eguilloot@cumberland.edu. If there's an absolute emergency and you can't get a hold of me through email, you can text me. My phone number is right there, though I would prefer you not do that because it's hard to tell who's who, and leave me alone, come on. I'm not going to text you. Don't text me. Classroom and time, well, it's online and asynchronous, so we don't really have to worry about that. Office hours, I don't have an office, so if you need something, let me know. If it's content that you're struggling with, we can meet up at Labrie or somewhere, whatever. We'll figure it out. I don't think you're going to need that, but, it's fine. Or we can Zoom. I don't know how to use Zoom, but we'll figure that out. The required textbook, as I mentioned before, is Understanding Business by Nichols and McHugh, the 13th edition, please. And the course objective is to, get you exposure to all aspects of business, so you can read that at your own time. University attendance policy. So we're going to have an assignment once a week, and which we'll talk about more in a second, but we're going to have an assignment once per week, and I think essentially that's how we're going to log attendance. I'll have to figure that out. I'll put an announcement for whatever the actual decision gets made on that. But this is true for all your other classes as well, right? So don't miss more than 3 classes. If you do, you start to lose points off your final grade. If I don't see your activity on Canvas at all, which, by the way, I can tell how long you spend on Canvas, that's also going to have an impact on, attendance, I suppose. So the university standard is if you miss more than 3 classes, then you lose 5% to your final grade for every miss after that. So if you miss 5 total classes, that's 10% off your final grade, which is obviously very significant. So you don't want to do that. So please don't do that. Now, that being said, if something has come up and you are having an emergency and you can't do an assignment on time, I'm not going to hit you really hard for that. Let me know. We'll figure things out. But please don't take advantage of that either, because, I mean, the only person you're going to fail is yourself. So just please, try to be honest with me about missing content and stuff like that. If you do continue to miss classes beyond 3 as well, then your advisor gets notified. If you're an athlete, your coach is going to get notified, which is, that's a whole other world of trouble you can get into. So let's not do that. Each student is going to assume personal responsibility for all information, discussion, conceptual analysis that took place during the class. So please don't miss anything. Please don't miss reading the textbook either. That would be good. And please don't miss watching these videos as well, because, who knows? Maybe there'll be important content that you will miss out on. Hey, if you get coronavirus, don't show up to class. Seems pretty basic. I mean, we're not in class, but I'm guessing you probably have an in-person class somewhere on campus. So don't come to class if you're sick in general, but especially not coronavirus. I don't want to go through that again, guys. I was in college during COVID, and that was horrible. Okay. Excused absences. That's probably more for another professor to tell you about one that you have in person. But if you can't make an assignment, please let me know. We'll figure something out. Whatever. Punctuality, it doesn't really apply here. Late assignments, you will lose 10% to the grade of the assignment per day late. So if you're 2 days late, you lose 20% off of the grade of that assignment. Please just submit your assignments on time. So this class is going to be these online videos, chapter readings, and then assignments. And I'll show you what some of those assignments are going to look like here in just a second, as well as quizzes. And then good news, we don't have a final exam in this course. We have a final project that's going to be a group project you're going to have to work on, but there's no final exam. And hopefully we will be done with this course a little bit earlier than other courses. But let me show you this down here actually. So the grading scale is located right here. Now we're a 10-point scale. I think everywhere in Labrie is a 10-point scale, so you don't have to worry about that too much. 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, yada yada yada. This is the weight for each of the assignments. So 20% for assignments, 40% for quizzes, and then so on and so forth. Classroom conduct. Online classroom conduct, don't use swear words in your discussion posts. Don't be nasty, okay? We don't need to do any of that. Academic integrity, please don't cheat. You can read the Cumberland Creed down here. Good. And then here's some things that, some expectations that we have for you as a school, but also for this class. Be accountable, take responsibility for the work that you're assigned and do it on time. Communicate with me. Please let me know if something is going to interfere with your ability to do an assignment on time. Please have respect. Write your emails to me properly. Use correct grammar. Be respectful. Don't be rude. I'm not going to ever be rude to you, so don't be rude to me. Participate. Please respond to other posts in discussion posts that we'll have. And make sure you check your Canvas and email daily. That's going to be really important too. All right, now let's just do a brief overview of what the Canvas page for this class looks like. So right here you'll see this is the home page. So this is going to give you a little bit of information about who I am, as well as how to contact me, what the course is about, what textbook you're going to need in case you need to look at it in the future, and how to navigate through the class. So if you ever need to look back at the syllabus, you'll go over here to syllabus, and then you'll click on this link right here, which is where I was just a minute ago showing you what all we're going to be doing and talking about. If you ever need to check up on, back to the home page, you'll see over here the to-do list. So this is kind of all of the upcoming assignments. They're all just going to show here at first, and as you do them, they'll go away. Your assignment page is going to be where you're going to live most of the time. So our first assignment coming up here is going to be due on August 31st. So make sure that you start looking at that as soon as the website becomes available. And you're going to see it's going to go through in order of availability, or in chronological order, all of our assignments. Essentially, the pace for this class is going to be one assignment per week, with quizzes every 2 to 3 weeks. Though the quiz dates may change depending on how much content we get through per week. But right now they're set to be about 2 or 3 weeks apart. And then once we get through that, you can kind of tell. Let's see, management feedback down here. The fire fraud is the last main assignment we have to do for this class, and it ends on November the 2nd, which, is still about a month before the end of the semester. So that last month we're going to spend on the last 2 quizzes that we need to do, as well as our group projects, which is stuff we'll talk about later. We don't really need to worry about that now. Now, I know this is running probably a little bit long at this point, so we're going to wrap it up by just talking about what this first week is going to look like. So the first assignment you're going to do is called Who Are You? All I'm asking for is well, it's locked. Hang on. Okay, here we go. So yeah, this is pretty basic. All I want to know is these 4 things here. What is your name? Where are you from? What are your career goals? And what are your bucket list items, things that you really, really want to do in your life? I'll tell you mine now. So my name's Ethan, like I said before. I'm from Mount Juliet. I have the career goal of being a silly goose and making a lot of money while doing it. And my bucket list goal is to, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. That's not a good enough answer for you, though. You will have to tell me what your bucket list goal is. Okay, so that's about it as far as that goes. Oh, also read the first chapter of the book, please. It's not terribly long, I don't think. Where is it? Chapter 1. Yeah, it's like 20 pages long. I mean, where am I looking? It's like 20 pages long, so it's not too bad. So please do that for me. Otherwise, yeah, we'll be in good shape if we just work hard, work together. Oh, there's also a video I found on Twitter not too long ago about how to read and retain the information that you read. I'll put it either in an announcement or link it underneath this video, because this will probably go up to like a private YouTube link. But it's really, really important. It's changed a lot about how I read and retain information. So, these textbooks can be a little dull and can be a little broad, but this video that I watched from a professor from some other school somewhere, I don't know, really, really made me think about reading differently. So I'm going to put that in there. You should watch it. I think it'll be interesting. It'll be insightful for you. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, I think that's about everything for this first video. I probably look like a big doofus. I probably sound real weird. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, and so I want to try giving you a better experience, and it's just something I have to practice at. So hopefully over the course of the next few weeks, this will start to get a little bit smoother and easier to do. If you have any questions, like I said, reach out to my email at egio@cumberland.edu. I'm gonna have to figure out how to put like things, like graphics, so I can just be like right there. But yeah, I hope that this class is good for you. I hope that it's you learn a lot. I hope we both learn a lot, actually, is really what I mean. So yeah, thanks. I guess that's everything. Goodbye.